GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, I'm Mark Beaumont. Quebec just approved rebuilding the St. Pierre interchange, a big boost for commuters, while Pride organizers are tightening security after the recent Berlin attack. Expect moderate traffic delays on several routes. Summer Persian Day is on tonight. Over to you, Emma.
The Summer Persian Day Festival opens downtown on Saturday, featuring traditional music, dance performances, and a marketplace showcasing Persian cuisine and handmade crafts.
Tickets are free, but families are encouraged to pre-register online. Organizers anticipate around 5,000 visitors across the two-day celebration.
Live cooking demonstrations will highlight Persian saffron rice, kebabs, and baklava, with chefs offering tasting portions throughout the afternoon for all.
The festival concludes Sunday evening with a lantern ceremony by the river, and with that, lots to get to, let's begin. Good evening, Montreal. Today the Quebec government gave the green light to rebuild the St. Pierre Highway interchange, a project that has lingered in studies for more than 10 years. The approval comes as traffic engineers and municipal officials have warned that the aging structure, a key conduit for commuters on the island, is nearing capacity and showing signs of wear. Provincial Transport Minister announced that design work will move forward immediately, with construction slated to begin once contracts are awarded. The rebuilt interchange is expected to improve flow on the surrounding arteries and reduce bottlenecks that have plagued drivers for years. Funding will be drawn from the provincial infrastructure budget, and officials say the project will be staged to minimize disruption to existing traffic. Residents can expect updates as the schedule solidifies. The decision aligns with the province's long-term plan to modernize key transport corridors across Quebec.
Sean Farrell announced today he will continue his career with a team in Anaheim, while Sasha Pastujov is set to join a team here in Montreal. Both players spent last season in the American League, adding depth and experience to their new clubs. Farrell's move marks his first stop on the West Coast since his rookie year, and he expressed optimism about contributing to the Anaheim roster. Pastujov, a right-hander known for his steady arm, said the opportunity to play in his hometown excites him and he looks forward to connecting with local fans. The transactions were confirmed by the league office earlier this afternoon, and both athletes will report to their respective spring training facilities in the coming weeks. Their arrivals add fresh talent to the upcoming season's lineups.
Fierté Montreal announced today that security will be significantly heightened for the city's upcoming Pride celebrations after the deadly attack on a Berlin Pride event earlier this month. Organizers said additional police patrols, metal detectors at all venues, and a dedicated rapid response team will be deployed throughout the festival route that runs from the Gay Village to Parc Jean-Drapeau. Police will also deploy canine units at crowded venues. The city's public safety department is coordinating with provincial authorities to ensure visible presence at concerts, street parties, and community gatherings. Lighting upgrades at key intersections are also planned to improve visibility after dark. Officials emphasize the measures are precautionary, aiming to protect participants while preserving the celebratory spirit of the event slated to begin in early August. Community leaders welcomed the steps, noting that the tragic incident in Berlin has heightened vigilance worldwide for LGBTQ+ gatherings.
Police say a man in his 50s was fatally stabbed during an altercation in Huntingdon on Monday afternoon. The incident occurred at roughly 1400 hours, according to the Sûreté du Québec, which responded to the scene and secured the victim before transporting him to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigators identified a single suspect, who was taken into custody without incident and is being held as a homicide suspect. The provincial police confirmed the case remains under active investigation, with forensic teams processing the location for evidence. Huntingdon officials expressed sorrow over the loss, noting the town's typically quiet streets have been shaken by the violent episode. No further details about motive or identity have been released at this time. The suspect is scheduled for a court appearance later this week, and the investigation remains open.
Quebec's government announced today a revival of its Disability Assistance Initiative, a move prompted by widespread criticism of the earlier scheme. Provincial statistics show roughly one-fifth of Quebecers, about 21%, live with a disability, underscoring the program's importance. Officials said the renewed effort will streamline benefits, improve accessibility of services, and introduce clearer eligibility criteria. The overhaul follows months of advocacy from disability groups who argued the previous framework was fragmented and underfunded. Health and Social Services ministers emphasized that the updated model aims to deliver faster support to those most in need, while also strengthening coordination with community organizations. Funding allocations will be detailed in an upcoming budget, and the program is slated to roll out in the coming weeks, offering renewed hope to thousands across the province. The announcement was made at a press conference in Quebec City, where ministers outlined the next steps. Later, we'll see why Quebec's microbrewery count slipped for the first time in 15 years plus more. Stay tuned, we will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back. I hope you found that break refreshing. Now, Emma Leclerc will guide us through the local stories shaping our community today.
The province's craft beer landscape has slipped into its first decline in 15 years, according to industry data released this week. Over the 2024-2025 period, the number of registered microbrewery businesses fell, breaking a 15-year run of steady growth that began in 2010. Analysts point to a mix of shifting business models, higher inflation, and evolving drinking habits as the main drivers behind the contraction. After 2 decades of rapid expansion, the sector now faces a modest pullback, with several breweries consolidating or exiting the market. Industry groups reported that the contraction may lead to a slight reduction in brewing-related jobs and could tighten the supply of specialty hops for local pubs. Some larger brewers are now eyeing new craft lines.
Yesterday, the Quebec provincial government and the Public Ambulance Service Urgences Santé announced a tentative collective contract with the province's paramedics in Montreal and Laval. After several years of operating without a formal agreement, more than 1,000 emergency responders secured a framework that addresses wages, scheduling, and safety provisions. The deal, reached after lengthy negotiations, marks the first contract offer for the workforce since the last agreement expired. Officials said the tentative nature of the pact means it will still require ratification by the paramedic union before becoming binding. For residents who rely on ambulance services, the agreement aims to stabilize staffing and maintain response times. Both the government and Urgences Santé expressed optimism that final approval will come swiftly, bringing certainty to the frontline teams that keep the city safe.
3 separate knife assaults struck the city over a 24-hour period this past weekend, leaving 3 people injured, 2 of them in serious condition. The incidents unfolded between July 25th and July 26, each involving a different victim, a man, another man, and a woman. Police confirmed the attacks occurred within less than a day, prompting heightened patrols across affected neighborhoods. The assaults took place in separate neighborhoods, and each victim required immediate medical attention. Emergency responders treated the victims at local hospitals, where the 2 seriously injured remain under intensive care. Authorities have not released details about motives or suspects, and investigations are ongoing. Residents are being advised to remain vigilant as officers continue to canvass the area for witnesses and any additional information. Police continue to interview witnesses and have asked anyone with relevant information to come forward.
Authorities are searching for a 73-year-old woman who vanished Sunday afternoon in the rural community of Saint-Étienne-des-Grès, part of the Masconingue Regional County Municipality in Quebec. The disappearance was reported on July 26, prompting the issuance of a missing person alert. Police have confirmed the investigation remains active and are coordinating efforts with local resources to locate the resident. The woman was last seen in the vicinity of her home, and no further details have been released at this time. The missing person alert was activated immediately after the report, and law enforcement agencies continue to assess all available information as the search proceeds. No further sightings have been reported, and the investigation remains the top priority for authorities in the area. The case continues to be a priority for law enforcement agencies in the region.
Scientists have confirmed a transmissible melanoma in brown bullhead catfish from Lake Memphremagog, the water body straddling the Quebec-Vermont border. The research released in July found roughly 1/3 of the sampled bullheads carried visible melanoma tumors, marking the first recorded transmissible cancer in fish. Transmissible cancers are exceedingly rare, previously documented only in a handful of mammals and a single marine clam species. This discovery expands the phenomenon to freshwater fish and could affect local anglers and the lake's biodiversity. Ongoing monitoring will aim to determine how the disease spreads and whether it poses a risk to other species sharing the habitat. Researchers from the Provincial Institute used tissue and DNA tests that proved the tumors shared identical markers, confirming transmission. Officials said no risk to people eating the fish has been found, but surveillance will continue.
Let's get a look at your evening forecast with our meteorologist tonight.
A deepening low and a northwest jet are steering tonight's clear, warm spell across Montreal. On this date, Montreal once sweltered to a record high of 31.9 degrees in 2019, a spike that rode the tail of a persistent heat dome across southern Quebec. The coldest reading was 14.1 degrees in 2013, recorded during an unseasonal Arctic surge that plunged the city well below its July norm. Today's climatological average sits near 27 degrees, with typical highs in the high 20s, so the current 28 degrees feels modestly above the norm. The live radar shows a band of moderate echoes sliding eastward across the southern suburbs, centered just north of the St. Lawrence. The heaviest cells are arriving at 6 p.m. over the South Shore, then will be drawn northeast by the northwest jet, clearing downtown by about 7. Beyond 8 the map quiets, confirming a dry, stable air mass that will dominate through the night. At 6 p.m., the city sits under a low-pressure system that is still falling, feeding a gentle ascent that keeps the sky mostly clear. The surface feels 28 degrees with a dew point of 12, so the air is comfortably dry. A southwest breeze of 12 kilometers per hour brushes the streets, while the jet aloft streams northwest at 34 kilometers per hour, steering any lingering moisture away. With the low pressure dragging east, temperatures will dip slowly through the evening, reaching 27 degrees by 7. The night will stay dry, wind remaining below 25 kilometers per hour, and the UV index stays at 6. No weather alerts are active, so the night proceeds without interruption. Looking ahead, Tuesday brings a high of 31 degrees and a low of 18, overcast with 50% rain as the lingering low pressure pulls moisture from the Great Lakes. Wednesday cools to a high of 23 and a low of 18, with light showers covering 75% of the day while the jet dips south. Thursday stays chilly at a high of 21, low still 18, and a moderate 35% rain chance as the system stalls. Friday clears with a high of 26 and a low of 18, pressure rising, and the jet turning northwest, delivering mainly clear skies. Saturday ends the stretch with a high of 28, low of 20, and overcast conditions as a weak frontal boundary slides through, keeping clouds in place. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, traffic snarls the AFC Toronto win over the Montreal Roses. And tonight's Summer Persian Day Arabic Pa, Arabic Alif, Arabic Krat, Arabic Ta, Arabic Farsi Ye. Stay with us. We will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
The biggest slowdown right now is on Rue Saint-Urbain above Autoroute Ville-Marie. Construction creates a hindrance, one lane closed and traffic crawling through the north-south corridor. Expect at least 15 minutes extra. Further east, Rue Lesage in Verdun is closed between Rue Hickson and Boulevard Champlain, diverting drivers onto Boulevard Saint-Jacques and Rue de la Commune. Avenue Jean Munier in Montreal Nord is also shut between Rue Jules Fournier and Rue Damas, sending traffic onto Boulevard Henry Bourassa. Chemin de la Côte des Neiges faces obstructions at the Chemin-Belvedere intersection and the northbound approach at Le Boulevard, adding delays on the main north-south route through Ville-Marie. Avenue de Selles between Avenue Lacombe and Chemin Queen Mary remains blocked, pushing drivers onto Rue Sherbrooke. Boulevard Lacordaire above Autoroute 40 has a lane restriction, while Boulevard de l'Acadie's access to Autoroute 40 East is limited. No transit disruptions are reported this afternoon, so subways and buses run on schedule. Expect flow on the remaining arterial roads.
Tonight's top story is the pop spectacle coming to the Bell Center. Ariana Grande launches a 4-night run starting tomorrow, promising the kind of show that fills the arena and puts Montreal on the tour map. It's a chance to see a global star up close. If you're staying local, the Summer Persian Day Party rolls out today on 5020 Rue Saint-Ambroise, where music, food, and cultural activities turn the street into a celebration of heritage. Looking ahead, the city's pride will burst onto Parc Jean-Drapeau and downtown venues this weekend for Festival Fierté Montreal, a parade and concerts that bring community together. It's a celebration of inclusion that lights up the city. And for families seeking fun right now, the Summer Fun Festival at Marché Central on 1234 Rue St. Catherine Ouest offers face painting, slime workshops, and outdoor games for all ages. It's perfect for a family outing without spending a dime. And now here's Jason with sports.
Here's the latest on Montreal's teams and their upcoming challenges. In Thursday's Northern Super League clash, AFC Toronto defeated the Montreal Roses by 2-0. Lauren Rowe and Kaylee Hunter each struck in the second half, while goalkeeper Sabrina D'Angelo recorded 2 saves. The victory lifts Toronto into sole possession of third place. The upcoming NHL season, 2026-27, opens on September 29 with 2 all-Canadian matchups. The Montreal Canadiens will travel to face the Toronto Maple Leafs, while the Edmonton Oilers host the Vancouver Canucks. Fans can expect a showcase of national rivalry to kick off the campaign. CBC Sports Soccer notes that AFC Toronto secured a 2-goal victory over the Montreal Roses on Thursday, with second-half strikes from Lauren Rowe and Kaylee Hunter. Goalkeeper Sabrina D'Angelo made 2 saves as Toronto moved into sole possession of third place. CBC Sports NHL outlines that the 2026-27 NHL season will tip off on September 29 with 2 all-Canadian opening matchups. The Montreal Canadiens are slated to visit the Toronto Maple Leafs, setting the stage for a classic Canadian showdown to start the campaign. The Canadiens have dealt forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations, a move confirmed on June 29 that reshapes Montreal's forward depth and adds a veteran presence to Vancouver's roster as the off-season progresses.
Good Food, the homegrown meal kit company tucked into St. Laurent, has been a staple for busy Montreal families looking for fresh, locally sourced dinners. The business, which delivers pre-portioned ingredients and chef-crafted recipes to doorsteps across the island, now faces a material uncertainty about its ability to keep operating. Over the past 3 fiscal quarters, it has recorded net losses exceeding $9 million and carries convertible debentures of $29 million due in March 2027. Management says they are reviewing strategic alternatives to stabilize the balance sheet. For the neighborhood, Good Food's presence means more than convenient meals. It supports local farmers, creates jobs, and keeps a piece of Montreal's culinary innovation alive. That's why the future of Good Food matters to all of us. Later, we'll celebrate the vibrant summer Persian Day Arabic Pa Arabic Alif Arabic Rot T letter 131, lighting up our streets with music, food, and community spirit.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
On St. Catherine Street, under the glow of the old cinema marquee, the air is already humming with the promise of this weekend's Pride celebrations. Inside the historic Theatre St. Laurent, volunteers from the community center and members of the local drag collective are stringing up ribbons alongside the set designers of a new queer theater piece. At the same time, a modest warehouse on Rue St. Paul has been transformed into a pop-up dance floor, where a troupe of young LGBTQ+ performers rehearse a vibrant routine to the beat of a live DJ. What makes it special is how these indoor spaces echo the energy of the outdoor parade, while offering a refuge for those who crave a quieter moment of connection. I watched a grandmother in a bright rainbow sweater share a laugh with a teenage poet during a comedy open mic, and the room filled with an easy, unguarded joy that felt like a shared secret. Tonight, as the city lights flicker over the St. Lawrence, those intimate gatherings remind us that Pride is not just a day, but a feeling that lives in every corner of Montreal.
From St. Laurent Boulevard, I'm Emma Leclerc, and Montreal SPCA gathered with volunteers and a handful of hopeful tenants outside a historic brownstone. They're urging the city and landlords to scrap rental clauses that bar pets, pointing to a steady rise in abandoned dogs and cats each spring when families move for Canada Day celebrations. One volunteer, Marie, holds up a chipped collar belonging to a tabby who was found wandering Mile End after a landlord's no pets notice forced its owner to surrender it. The sight of the trembling kitten, eyes wide in a cardboard box, underscores how a simple policy can ripple through a neighborhood. The SPCA's campaign asks, what if every renter could share their home with a companion without fear of eviction? The group hopes that a new municipal guideline will give families the confidence to keep their four-legged friends, reducing the number of animals that end up in shelters. When a landlord in Plateau Mont Royal recently signed a pet-friendly lease, The relief on both owner and animal was unmistakable. A home that welcomes a pet is a home that welcomes love, and Montreal is moving toward that.
Thank you, Montreal, for watching the local sunset. Tonight we highlighted Quebec's approval to rebuild the St. Pierre interchange, a step towards smoother commutes for our city. Stay tuned tomorrow for more stories that matter to you. I'm Mark Beaumont signing off. See you then and keep an eye on the news.